Okay, who is Mark Rober? Like, who is this? I have no, the name sounds familiar, but former JPL engineer? Oh, he worked on Curiosity. Oh, he's ex-NASA. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's take a look, see. Um, I am curious. My curiosity is piqued. I have my curiosity has been piqued. So, I so let's take a look at a mistake just ruined his image. Oh, he's also the glitter bomb guy. Okay, this is the glitter bomb guy. Okay. Well, I'm curious how a mistake ruined his image, quote unquote. Usually I'm suspicious when somebody says, "Oh, this has completely ruined their image," because 9 times out of 10, it's like, okay, it's like a whoopsie, but it's not like oh, they're done for good. So I'm curious. So let's take a look.
This mistake might have just ruined Mark Rober's image for a while, as it seems like things could have been done in a little bit more of a transparent way. But if Mark Rober did this on purpose, that's up for discussion. So let's go through the details. On this date, Mark Rober posted a video titled, "Can you fool a self-driving car?" And that's exactly what he tries to do.
I'm in my Tesla on autopilot going 40 miles an hour towards a fake Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner painted wall. Please stop.
Okay.
Please stop. Holy. And I'm doing this to see if Tesla's autopilot can be tricked, because it famously only relies on simple cameras to navigate the world, as opposed to much more expensive tech.
And that more expensive tech seems to have taken part in the video by providing a vehicle for him to test against the Tesla. So they ran a couple of different tests, with the Tesla running an autopilot, which is kind of important because the Tesla has something called full self-driving, which apparently is an updated and better version of autopilot, which came out roughly 5 years after it. But for some reason, he still chose to use autopilot. And this is how he introduced the challenge.
My Tesla on autopilot, however, only relies on simple cameras and its image processing to navigate the world. So to see if that tech is just too simple, we came up with a 6-part LiDAR versus camera head-to-head face-off, culminating in a history-making first Tesla versus cartoon physics test.
Okay, so from everyone's understanding of that introduction, the Tesla is running on autopilot. Then obviously, they had a Lexus kitted out with Luminar's LiDAR system running a version of autopilot as well. But the first few tests involved kids in the road, and clearly, the Tesla did not perform well at all.
Tesla owner, there is a silver lining. Sadly, it did not.
Now, obviously, that was controversial, but most of the focus was around this part.
Now, as you can see as a human driver, while that looks sort of convincing, the image processing in our brains is advanced enough that we pick up on minor visual inconsistencies and we wouldn't hit it. As for the LiDAR, it isn't looking at what image is printed on the wall. So this sort of just looks like a wall, which would make this the easiest test of the day. And as I suspected, handled it with no problem.
Meanwhile, the Tesla.
Holy me.
Yeah,
that's kind of funny.
Didn't pass at all. And people on the internet were quick to point out that at 1529 here, as he was approaching the wall, the Tesla.
They also found ties with him and LiDAR that were never disclosed. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Was not running autopilot. 1529 here, as he was approaching the wall, the Tesla was not running autopilot, as you can see by the lack of the rainbow road on the infotainment screen there. Then you see at 1534, it suddenly turns on. And then here at 1542, the autopilot for some reason is not on again, right as he hit the wall. And the way it's edited, it almost looks like it could be conveniently hiding something. For context, I'll play the quick full clip here.
Okay, he's gonna show. Okay, that's why he's gonna show the full clip. I want to see this. Hang on.
Here.
And as the wall crept closer and closer without moving an inch, holy crap. Question was if the Tesla would detect it in time to step on the brakes. And it turned out,
Wait, hang on. Hang on.
Closer and closer without moving an inch. Holy crap. Question was if the Tesla would.
He turned it on. You actually see him turn it on. Watch, chat, watch his right hand. You can see the very top of his fingers here. Yeah, look at his finger right here. So he turned it on right there. So the argument is that he turned it on too late and the system did not have time to basically keep up with what he was doing. Yeah. Did Atozy mention that you literally see him turn on? How did Atozy describe this?
By the lack of the rainbow road on the infotainment screen there. Then you see at 1534, it suddenly turns on. And then here at 1542, the autopilot for some reason is not on again, right as he hit the wall. And the way it's edited, it almost looks like it could be conveniently hiding something. For context, I'll play the quick full clip here.
And as the wall...
Well, it's... What? Hiding it? See, you... hiding what? You literally see him turn it on. Like, I'm now confused. Like, I agree with you, Tysel. Like, he turned it on, what, maybe 20 feet, 30 feet away from the wall, and the system might not have had a chance to engage. I agree with that. But the editing is not, like, hiding something. You literally see, in the editing, you see his finger depress the lever that turns it on.
All crept closer and closer without moving an inch.
Right.
The question was
here.
if the Tesla would detect
That's
it
where he
in
turned
time
it
to
on.
step on the brakes. And it turned out...
Oh, and I guess just a...
But I will say, after he's gone through, which presumably is a couple seconds, it is off. It is off before he hits. So we see him physically turn it on. Wait, hang on. Hang on. Okay. Yeah, that's, yeah, Bobcat, that's what I'm talking about. Hang on. Hang on. Let me. He turned it off. It goes away right there. He turned it off. At this point, you can see it fades away. You can see the remnants right there. There's the red, and it's fading away, and now it's entirely gone. So he turned it off. I'm not sure how many feet that is from it, but he turned it off right before he hit. That's not good. You see him turn it on. Back, what? Well, when we watch it, we see him physically turn it on. No. It did it fail to, and no, I don't think it failed, Larook. I would say it did not fail to turn off. I think in between cuts, he probably turned it off. No, I think that's probably about 10 feet. I would say that is roughly 10 feet, because I don't know what Tesla's range is in terms of when it will apply brakes with the emergency braking system. I don't know what will it apply brakes at 10 feet? Will it apply it at 15 feet? Will it apply it at 20 feet if it detects an object in the way? It almost seems like he turned it on far enough back that it would not engage. Is it? So he turned it on so it would so the rainbow road would show on camera, and then he turned it off, or either he turned it on so you would see the rainbow road on camera, and then turned it off before the impact, or he turned it on with enough time to engage it, and then turned it off before when he reached the wall, when he reached what would be considered the danger close range of when the emergency braking system would recognize an obstruction and apply the brakes. But he turned it off. So he turned it on. I would say this is probably, at very rough guess, I would say he turned it off turned it on 30 to 35 feet, and then turned it off at about 10 feet. That's what it looks like. He turned it off at about the 10-foot range. Maybe 15 feet. It's hard to gauge it.
Oh, and I guess just to make damages worse, they added the same crash dummy kid behind the wall as well.
What?
Fatality.
Oh, God.
And the YouTuber Meet Kevin thinks Tesla has quite the case against Mark Rober because he didn't use the full self-driving mode.
By implying that the technology he's showing is Tesla's full self-driving technology. He literally writes, "Can you fool a self-driving car?" But he doesn't actually use the self-driving technology in his experiment. Instead, he uses the autopilot technology to destroy figures.
Wait. Hold up. Hold up. Hang on. It's turned off. He turned it off. We can't see his hand on this one. Look at the display. Look at the display here. Right when he's about to hit the smoke, I think he switched it off. And you can already see it fading before the impact. He turned it, he probably disabled it, I would guess. My guess is right about here. When he goes through the arch, he disables it. And this is just residual from the engagement that fades out by the time we get here. That's not good. This is the problem with doing this shit when you have very visible markers to indicate when you have a feature turned on and off. You think it lost speed? I don't know. Like, does this work only at a certain speed? Because he's traveling, this looks like he's traveling at 43. And it looks like he only drops by like 1 or 2 miles per hour. I would think that loss of speed. Plus there's this indicator right here. I'm not sure what this black indicator is. I have no idea what that is. So it's there. Yeah. Well, no, Tysel, this is a different test. This is the pedestrian test. This was not the going through the wall test. This is a previous one. This was one of his previous tests where it was, okay, there's a smoke obstruction, and on the other side of that smoke obstruction, there's a kid. But the self-driving shuts off before that. So I think when he goes through the arch, he shuts it off. Yeah. And it's not for lack of speed. He only dropped 1 mile per hour. He was at 43. At this point, he's at 42. You think it's distracting the autopilot? Well, he's behind the wheel. This is the car was not self-driving. He was behind the wheel. This was not the car driving itself. So, you know, he was behind the wheel. He was accelerating. The whole purpose with the autopilot is automatic braking. and he turned it off because that's what the Rainbow Road feature indicates that the autopilot is on. So, I don't know.
Technology to destroy figures of children and imply that if you rely on this technology, you could end up being subject to vehicular manslaughter claims. This is really problematic because if the test was done more fairly, it'd be tough for Tesla to have an argument here. But because Tesla's full self-driving technology was completely ignored, and in some cases even their autopilot technology may have been disabled, Tesla could have a pretty big argument against Mark Roper here.
Yeah, I feel like that would be the worst nightmare for any creator. I mean, you're just out here trying to make a viral YouTube video and then suddenly you get sued by the 11th largest company in the world. No, thank you. But it's safe to say this video got a reaction. There was a lot of viral tweets calling out this video, one of which was a thread with about 8 million views so far. And here it says the video is filled with deception, lies, and illegal undisclosed advertising. I'm not sure about that last allegation here, but we'll get into that later on.
Okay, so the illegal undisclosed advertising, that is referencing what you guys were saying about how he was affiliated with LiDAR. And LiDAR has since removed that page, correct? Am I correct? Yeah. Okay. Hang on 1 second, chat. Okay.
Advertising. I'm not sure about that last allegation here, but we'll get into that later on. In the video, Tesla does not detect the wall and goes straight through it. On top of that, there is a kid mannequin that gets absolutely nailed at the end. But there's a few things Mark doesn't tell you. First of all, he lied about full self-driving. He didn't even use FSD. He used autopilot, which even Tesla admits is an older, not as strong technology. But even worse, he deactivates it right before he hits the wall.
There we go.
In a sneaky maneuver, he moves the wheel to deactivate the autopilot. Then he points.
Oh, so that's how it works. If you move the wheel, it deactivates the autopilot. Okay, like, I'm not overly familiar with Tesla's autopilot systems. So simply moving the wheel deactivates autopilot. So that's what he did with the child test going through the smoke. He probably just nudged the wheel and took it out of autopilot. Okay, that ain't good. That is, hang on, I'm now curious. Hang on a second. Hang on, I want to look at, okay, remember 455, chat. Hang on, I want to see this.
Oh, and I guess just to...
I mean, yeah, his hands were on the wheel the whole time. Wait a minute. Wait. His hands were on the wheel the whole time.
Oh, and I guess just to make Dan...
I'm confused. His hands were on the wheel the whole time, but it says that... Tyzel, I don't know. I do not know. So maybe what they're saying is he shifted his hands on the wheel. I don't know. Like, his hands were on the wheel the whole time. And you could see there was some input. Maybe, Zeb. This is just... It doesn't help that I'm not overly familiar with Tesla's autopilot feature. So, this is very, like... A lot of this is not adding up right.
Worse, he deactivates it right before he hits the wall. In a sneaky maneuver, he moves the wheel to deactivate the autopilot. Then he points out the stock of the company that he promoted or indirectly promoted, depending on who you ask, is up $50 million in market cap right after the video released. So the company went up about 27% in one single day after this video was released. But then the thread starts throwing out even more allegations, saying that on top of that, he lies about other sponsors. He regularly shills Google Pixel phones. In the video itself, he shows a Pixel filming the video. Look close enough at the reflection of the Tesla, he's actually filming with an iPhone and edited the shot to look like a Pixel. Okay, hold up. That is odd if that is actually true. Why would he do
fuck. Interesting. So this is going just beyond trying to show for LiDAR. He's actually lying about his camera equipment. Now. No, this is the imagery from the LiDAR. Oh, wow. So basically, Xanax, what they're talking about here is he's showing that he's filming with a Google Pixel camera because apparently he likes to tout Google Pixel cameras. But in this still shot, you can see the very distinctive camera arrangement of an iPhone. So the iPhone is probably positioned forward up here. It's not positioned all the way back here. Because look at the distance in that reflection. It's close. So he's got an iPhone camera sitting up here. Now, one possibility, I will say, is he could have a 2-phone camera setup in here. That the Pixel is recording through the windscreen, and the iPhone is set up to specifically record this display. That is a possibility. He's got a 2-camera setup to get two vantage points from within the car. That is a possibility. And so he's got the Google Pixel that's looking straight through the windshield, and the iPhone is looking at the car's display. And it's going to obviously much closer to capture better detail, while the Pixel's set for aperture rating to be able to look through the windscreen and get a clear picture through the windscreen. Because if you try to do both, one of the two would probably get out of focus, either the view outside the windshield or the screen. A 2-camera setup would allow you to capture both, and you would have good detail on both. So that is a possibility that he did a 2-camera setup, or 2-phone camera setup. And Infinity Splitter, thank you for the follow.
Do that? Why would he not just film with a Google Pixel? If you're being paid to use Google Pixels, why aren't you just using a Google Pixel? But then on top of that, people also pointed out that the Google logo on the phone is suddenly in landscape here at 1352 in his video.
No way. Oh, fuck. Unless that's the case. That does look like there's a case on it. Could this be the case? That the case has this? And it's not the phone itself? I don't know. Though I would expect even the case, especially if it came from Google, to have the Google logo right side up too. Oh boy. This ain't good for him.
I don't know what's going on there. Okay, I'm coming back like 16 hours later, so my editing team and we spent a lot of time looking for an explanation for this.
Okay, so my take on it, he's using multiple phones for multiple takes, pickup shots maybe, not unnormal when filming. Maybe something happened with the Pixel phone, so the footage didn't look as good as he wanted in those specific scenarios, like I was talking about. However, highly doubt the Pixel phones have been edited in, as they're literally perfectly married in the footage. I've scrubbed through the footage. There are no errors in the footage to indicate it's been altered. Also, the reflections haven't been edited, so he's not hiding anything either. And as someone who knows a thing or two about how much effort that would take to replace, it's just no, not a realistic scenario to suggest the phones in the shot have been edited in. If he took the time to pay someone to spend literally possibly hundreds of hours to perfectly replace the phones with Pixels, he would also have taken the time to fix the reflections. There are multiple takes also with iPhones used. There's currently no released Pixel phone out there that looks exactly like the phone shown in the footage. The only phones that look similar are the Pixel 8 phones, but the camera bar still doesn't look the same, with the currently released Pixel phones having a black area where the cameras are, and in Mark's video there seems to be metal around it in between the cameras. About the horizontal logo, this could be either again, an unreleased phone, a prototype, or a case, or stickers. As you can see, the entire phone is also upside down in a few shots. Okay, that's what I was wondering too, if it could have been a case. That was showing, yeah, if this could have been a case, which is a possibility. The multiple phone thing, that was my immediate thought. He was using multiple phones for different viewpoint angles, so you could have clear footage of both using two phones instead of trying to get both with just one phone.
This, and so far it definitely doesn't look like they replaced the phones in an edit, as there's no errors in the footage even when zoomed way in. I mean, we've been scrubbing the whole footage at a pixel level and there's literally zero flaws. So it doesn't seem edited to us. The two explanations that I can find for the Google logo sideways is either he's using a phone case or an unreleased phone. Another thing that backs that it's not edited is here's a screenshot of the phone being used the other way, and the logo is upside down. Also, it just doesn't look like they try to hide the iPhone. If they spent all of this time hypothetically editing a Google logo onto an iPhone, they would cover up the reflection. Because if you're hypothetically going to do that, that would be hundreds of hours of editing. So why wouldn't you cover up the reflection? But overall, we think there were multiple takes, and in some cases they used Google Pixels, and other cases they used iPhones. And then the final...
Makes perfect sense. Or they use both simultaneously, like what I was talking about. And Shadow Gruntkia, thank you for the follow.
Part of this thread here is he points out that Mark posted a video showing the full clip, but he's alleging that it's a completely different clip. So I thought we'd take a look at that together as well.
Okay. Okay.
Here we go. Here we go. Holy shit!
Yeah.
It turned off. And I'm not... Wait a minute. Wait a second. Let me see that again. No. That's not what I'm seeing.
Here we go. Here we go. Holy shit!
Let me see. That's not what I was seeing. I don't think he took his hand off. It slid down. What I'm thinking, I think his hand, I think it slid down on the wheel slightly. He didn't really turn the wheel. No, what I'm thinking, notice how many times he hits the lever. You saw his hand leave the, I don't know how you can see his hand leave the wheel. His hand slides down, so it's like parallel with the crossbar. Watch how many times he hits the engagement lever.
Here we go. Here we go. Holy shit!
He hit the lever 3 times. No, 3 times, Victor. So, I'm wondering, by doing it 3 fucking times like that, again, I don't know if this is how a Tesla would work or not. By hitting it 3 times, does it engage it, then disengage it, then re-engage it? But obviously, if the system needs time to fire up, then did it start to fire up, but then went with the second input and then fired back down? And after it fired back down, then the third input of firing it back up. And it confused the system. Yeah, turning on, turning off, then turning on again. So it was like firing up, powering down, and then it by the pointing at the wall, it was powering down because he had hit the lever. Like, I'm not seeing his hand departing the wheel.
Here we go! Holy shoot!
Yeah, you could see, yeah, his thumb is there. You could see his thumb right there. His hand is still on the wheel. His hand has not left the wheel. You know, his shoulder is kind of blocking it, but you can see his thumb is still on the wheel. Right there. You can see his thumb is on the wheel. I think it was the lever depression, the 3 times lever depression. That's what I'm thinking. So he hit the activation, the autopilot 3 times, and that might have confused the system. And so it powered it on, powered off. Yeah, but I think his hand still was on the wheel. It was his thumb was hooked on this right here. It's just when his shoulder was up, and here his shoulder drops, you can see his hand was still on the wheel. Right there, you can see his thumb right there. So my suspicion is that he basically screwed up the system. His right hand left the wheel? Wait, what? Well, he had to engage it. You're talking about right here? This was him turning the system on. The system was not on yet. His hand leaving the wheel here was to literally engage the system. Okay, I thought you were referring to his left hand. The system wasn't on yet. His hand leaves it to engage the system. That's what this lever is. And then he's doing the lever several times, and then he keeps a firm grip on the wheel. It's happened later? Let's see. Yeah, are you talking about right here? Where after he's hit the lever, he's re-gripping? Is that what you're referencing? Like after he does that 3rd depress of the activation lever, his hand leaves the wheel. I don't know. Would that have been enough? Would it right before he hits the wall? Let's see. Nope, the system's already disengaged. It's already disengaged by the time he's getting ready to hit the wall. So his hand would have had to have left it before that. Anyway, it's for whatever, one of these two, either because he had lifted his hand off to depress the lever or because he engaged it 3 times, something happened.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's put the original and the alleged raw footage side by side here.
Maybe.
Here we go! Holy...
Editing team, what do you guys think?
Notable takes, not the same perspective, nor distance from the wall.
What do
Ooh,
you guys
hang
think?
on. Oh. Yeah. They're right. The perspectives are very different. Very different.
Here we go! Holy...
Editing team, what do you guys think?
Oh.
It doesn't look like the same clip to me, as the speedometer seemingly gives it away, as the autopilot was engaged at 39 miles an hour in the YouTube video, then at 42 miles an hour in the video that was posted to Twitter. Something's not right here. No way did both Mark Rober...
Oh, I didn't even look at the speedometer. Oh. Something be rotten here, Chad.
And Marcus Brownlee get exposed by a speedometer in the same year. Then people
Wait,
pointed
Marcus
out that the
Brownlee
wall seems
got
to be
exposed
pre-cut,
too?
like they wanted the crash to happen. So, taking all these things together, it looks a little...
Okay, pre-cutting the wall, I'd say this is probably for safety. the pre-cutting of the wall, I think this was probably a safety precaution. So basically the entire wall doesn't just go kablooey, that they knew it was gonna, if it was going to hit, it would hit right here, and it would have been a controlled method of going through that would basically only destroy this and leave the rest of the wall intact. This is a nothing burger, this particular thing here.
To happen. So, taking all these things together, it looks a little sus. For Mark, I mean, best case, questionable test. Worst case, he might get sued by Tesla for trying to make the most entertaining and viral video out of his test. And then you also have his image being put into jeopardy as well. Meanwhile, Luminar, the company that was also involved in this video, is apparently in hot water as well, even though it seems like they're the clear winner of the situation with their massive stock gain just days before their earnings, which is coming in at March 20th. So that's great for them. But apparently Luminar were advertising Mark's video on their website, but quickly removed it when the internet backlash started. Then on top of that, another, I guess, PR disaster for Luminar and...
Okay. One thing I will say, Luminar pulling the video when the backlash started is not explicitly implying guilt. This is kind of a common corporate practice if there is a whiff of scandal where the internet's calling bullshit to basically yoink something like that down when something like this blows up. No, it's certainly not helping. Not at all. But this is pretty standard practice. If they're working with someone, if they're working with an outside company or person on any kind of promotional, and that person or company gets into hot water, they will yoink that down immediately. It certainly doesn't. No, it doesn't absolve them of anything. But this is pretty standard practice for every corporation out there. So in and of itself, this is not explicitly any kind of an admission of guilt.
Mark is you have this tweet from Mark back in 2022 thanking the CEO of Luminar for a massive donation towards Team C's. Then you have another tweet that's currently doing rounds on the Luminar topic by Phil Truby here that says a PR disaster unfolding in real time here on X. Luminar, a LiDAR manufacturer, needs more sales, so it decided to hook up with YouTuber Mark Rober of Glitter Bomb fame to make a video showcasing how LiDAR works better than Tesla's Vision only system for self-driving. I'm not so sure about the framing of this tweet, but Mark put together a contrived scenario of driving into a silly Wile E. Coyote canvas of a painted roadway. LiDAR sees it as solid, but Tesla's Vision might be tricked into thinking it's a road. But he had to fake the contrived scenario, not using Tesla's latest FSD system, using a 5-year-old autopilot system, and frame-by-frame analysis showed that autopilot wasn't even enabled at the time of the crash.
And there is the two-part issue that I think a lot of people are having. The LiDAR system was full self-driving. And when Mark used the Tesla, he didn't use the self-driving, which was available. So it's not only using a completely different system, but also the system he did use wasn't even turned on. This is where I think the core problem is for Mark. Take everything else that we've been looking at so far, put that aside for the moment. That's just basically like toppings to this shit cake right now. This part right here is the core of the problem. It's a false equivalency. Yeah. Mark Rober was basically going with a false equivalency of LiDAR is better because it recognizes the wall and stops. And when he put Tesla, and when he tested the Tesla, he didn't use an equal system. He used an older system that was less reliable when the latest system of this full self-driving was available. Yeah, and even using, he could have even done a test using the older autopilot system as well, but it was turned off, and thus the test is invalid. But he didn't act like it was. Well, Jack, that is the question. Did he rig it to make it look bad and make the LiDAR look good? That is what is fueling this bit of a internet firestorm when it comes to Mark Rober. Like, did he take steps both pre, during, and post-production to make Tesla look bad and make LiDAR look good? And right now, it's kind of looking that way. There's no other way to really view it. It's kind of looking like he was gassing up LiDAR to make Tesla look bad.
Then the Tesla community goes nuts over the weekend, but Monday rolls around and his 65 million YouTube subscribers decide to buy Luminar stock, pumping it up by 25%. So now apparently there's a very real threat of an SEC investigation. Luminar had touted the video on its website before taking it down for stock pumping and ultimate irony. Guess who was Luminar's biggest customer before this? Yeah, Tesla, who bought it to do testing and training of their vision system. Oh, okay, so that's really interesting. Also,
Wait. So Tesla owns Luminar? Wait. No? Because it just said, who is Luminar's biggest customer before that? Oh! Okay, I misread. I misread it. My eyes doth deceived me. Tesla bought the Luminar system to test it, to do testing and training on their vision system. Okay. I misread. Not bad. I get it.
to do testing and training of their vision system. Oh, okay, so that's really interesting. Also, this tweet is definitely making a lot of assumptions, but still interesting.
Hey.
But they ended by saying, I don't think Tesla is going to be buying too many more Luminar LiDARs going forward. Federal investigations, lawsuits, lost sales. I suspect a marketing VP is going to be looking for a new job soon. Okay, so that is actually a super unexpected spin that Tesla was allegedly the main customer for this LiDAR company, and this LiDAR company might have just bit the hand that fed it by being involved in this video. What did Mark just walk himself into here? Oh man, I would not.
Okay, Atozy. Sorry, I gotta give you one of these. It's what did Mark just drive himself into? Atozy, the pun was right there. It was right there. It was on a silver platter. Come on, man. It was right there. What did Mark just drive himself into? Come on, Atozy, do better. Thank you, Lycan.
I want to be standing in between two massive companies here. Doesn't sound like the best positioning. But keep this in mind because thankfully Philip DeFranco was able to get Mark into an interview this quickly to talk about all this. And here, the first thing he addressed was choosing autopilot rather than the full self-driving for the test.
Was there any reason you opted to test autopilot on the Tesla instead of full self-driving?
My understanding with full self-driving is that you have to enter an address for it to work. And it, as opposed to just being able to engage it. And this is what Tesla is called autopilot.
Hang on. Activate full self-driving when it's in park. Enable the control start from park. Brake confirm. Brake is that you will need to briefly press on the brake pedal to confirm each time you start full self-driving. Optional. Enter a destination. Optional. If you do not choose a destination, chooses the most probable driving path and suggests a destination based on your driving. Hold and touch start, and if prompted, press the brake pedal to continue. Shifts in driver, reverse if necessary, pulls out the parking space, begins navigating to your destination. To cancel, blah, blah, blah. So, it's optional to enter a destination. You would think if you're going to be doing a test on something like this, you'd want to read this.
As opposed to just being able to engage it. And this is what Tesla has called autopilot. And even Googling it, seeing what they determine as autopilot. And my understanding is that the sensor is not different, whether it's full step driving or autopilot. Knowing if that's a wall or not, that doesn't change. So I think I'd be happy to rerun the experiment in full self-driving. I'm pretty confident it wouldn't be a different result. So to me, it was a distinction without a difference.
I'm going to be honest here and say I have no idea what's true here. This is just way above my pay grade. But he does go on to address the Twitter video that he posted.
Xanax.
In the clip that you posted on Twitter where you said, here's the raw footage. Can you explain what it is that we're seeing and what you're trying to explain is happening in that? You said, not sure why it disengages 17 frames before hitting the wall, but my feet weren't touching the brake or gas.
So I think people were saying that I was manually just drove it through because 17 frames, by the way, is like less than a half of a second before it hits the wall. Again, my hypothesis, I don't know why it would disengage. I was not pulling on the steering wheel. And by the way, even if I did disengage it, it's less than a half a second before you go off. The outcome would not be different.
Editor's note, phone on Mark's end. You didn't get a text. No one is thinking of you right now. Sorry about that.
My guess is maybe the sensors, the ultrasonic sensors, which I think are on the bumper, they probably just disengage if they sense that something big is there and it just stops being in the self-driving mode or autopilot, whatever you want to call it.
There have been people that say that it looks like you may have had multiple takes or possibly gone through the wall multiple times. Were there multiple takes? What can you give any insight there?
Was. I mean, this is like what you put in the video. So the first day we went out there, I think you can even see it. We didn't have like the styrofoam wall. It was just like a vinyl sheet. We did a take. It went right through. I think that was the one that maybe was at 40 miles an hour or something. But it was just like, instead of cutting through it, like which would visually look cool, it just kind of tore the side and like a little flap came up. So it was like, that was a very interesting finding that it actually worked. So you'll see it going through the wall, but it's more of a flap. And then we're like, holy crud, I can't believe that really worked. And then I don't know, like 3 weeks later, we went back out time when schedule permitted, this time with like a styrofoam wall, because I thought it'd be funny if it's like, well, now that it goes through the walls, we should have like a fun cutout as it goes through. So I guess in the edit, then we used the start of one of those clips. So it went through the wall twice.
So the clip that you posted online or on Twitter was the one where the raw of you actually going through it the second time?
Yes, that's the second time.
But moving on to another hot topic, did Luminar give him any money?
Regarding Luminar, there have been a lot of people asking what kind of role they played. Right, the description of the video says they provided the car for testing. Did they have any say in the edit? Did they?
Like, okay. I'm trying to figure. So during the full testing, they did not have the styrofoam. And so instead, what they did is after their full shoot, comparing the two cars, they went back out there and rammed through it again, but this time they had styrofoam in place? Why? Yeah, so the reshoot was, so they did the reshoot to make it look better. Yeah, so they did the reshoot with the styrofoam to make the crash look better. However, that video footage, that second shoot that he was fully intending to go through, bearing in mind, he was fully intending to go through the wall because this was basically B-roll to layer on top of their existing that they were going to be posting because it looks more dramatic with the styrofoam exploding everywhere. She classified that footage, the second shoot where he was intending to go through the wall, as I'm understanding it, in saying, that was the raw footage from the first test. Am I understanding this correctly? He's saying that the reshot footage with the styrofoam, he was originally claiming as the raw footage from the test. Am I getting that right, or am I getting confused? Because the styrofoam wall incident, he was... Hang on, let's hear it again. Let's hear it again.
That it actually worked. So you'll see it going through the wall, but it's more of a flap. And then we're like, holy crud, I can't believe that really worked. And then I don't know, like 3 weeks later, we went back out time when schedule permitted, this time with like a styrofoam wall. Because I thought it'd be funny if it's like, well, now that it goes through the walls, we should have like a fun cutout as it goes through. So I guess in the edit, then we used the start of one of those clips. So it went through the wall twice.
So the clip that you posted online or on Twitter was the one where you actually, the raw of you actually going through it the second time?
Yes, that's the second time.
But
The raw, she was intending to go through. The intention was to go through the wall. He was not going to want, he wasn't being scientific about it to see if it would fail. He literally wanted to go through the wall. But he's posting it as, like, he posted it like he's pretending it was raw footage from the first shoot to show, hey, we weren't faking it. Yeah, that doesn't work. This isn't working the way he thinks it works in terms of properly explaining.
But moving on to another hot topic, did Luminar give him any money?
Regarding
That's exactly what
Luminar,
I mean,
there have been a lot of people asking what kind of role they played. Right, the description of the video says they provided the car for testing. Did they have any say in the edit? Did they have any
No
say
edit.
in the
They
setup?
didn't see the edit. I really want to clear this. Luminar gave us no money. They had no say in the edit. They did not approach us. They were just a car technology I know that used LiDAR. So I reached out to them and say, hey, will you let us borrow some cars?
Okay, chat, I'm very disappointed in you right now. Once again, missing out on a perfectly timed pun and saying he's a LiDAR. I'm disappointed in you, chat. This was another pun served up to you on a silver platter. Come on, chat.
And then they let us use the cars. So we didn't pay them to come. They did not pay us. They had no say. And we didn't know what would happen either, by the way. And we told them, look, if your LiDAR fails one of these, it goes in the video. And if Tesla would have passed all of them, by the way, that would have gone in the video. Like, I'm very agnostic. I really just wanted to see what would happen.
Moment. Yes, it was indeed a walk moment.
So truly, I don't have a horse in this race.
Okay, so that is at least good, but does he own
Car,
any
you
stock?
have a car
Once
in the
again,
race.
it's like
Mark.
based off of these accusations. Do you or anyone close to you have any Luminar stock?
I do not own any Luminar stock, or I do not know of anyone close to me who owns any Luminar stock. Absolutely unequivocal.
And I know you said you love Tesla. Just to confirm, do you have any options or puts on Tesla?
I have no options on Tesla. I have no puts on Tesla. I am just, there's no financial anything in here at all, 100%. I'll go into court of law.
Again, this is very good, especially if he ends up getting sued over this. Then the final snippet that I'll show from the interview is his response to Luminar removing the video off of their website.
So Mark, kind of the last two things I'll hit on. One, do you have any comment or reaction to Luminar removing the link to your video from their website? I believe it was as of this morning.
I think someone said that they had posted it. My guess is they
Even
took it
when
down
Ember
because
isn't reacting to a guntuber, she still manages to react to a video about shooting.
I don't get that. I don't get it. Sally.
we were very clear with them, like, you aren't allowed to use this at trade shows. This isn't part of your marketing material. Like, this isn't a puff piece for you. we just want to borrow the car, and whatever happens, happens. So my guess is they felt bad and realized that's a bad look if they are posting it. But we told them, like, this is not for your marketing materials. We are just using.
Then why was it on their website in the first place? If you're so adamant that this is not to be used for your marketing materials, how did it end up on their website in the first place and you were not immediately on the phone with a lawyer having a cease and desist thrown at LiDAR or Lumina? The correct response would have the appropriate response if you were true, where you said this is not for you to use as promotional material. If you really did say that to Lumina, why were you not on the phone with the lawyer having a cease and desist written up the moment it went up on their website? That's what a normal logical person with those scruples that you are claiming would do. But he didn't. Hey.
Your car for our video. So if it's down, I'm guessing that's why they took it down out of respect for us.
I don't know. I think it could be either because of the backlash or maybe losing their largest customer, Tesla, allegedly. I don't know if that's true or not, but those two alternatives sound more realistic.
Or at least tell them take it down,
what Mark said.
Yes.
But according to a Motor Trend article, while I was doing research on this, I found out there was a National Highway Traffic Safety Administration report on exactly what happened to Mark's Tesla before impact, where it disengaged from any form of autopilot right before impact. And this was apparently a known flaw. So then my next question is, did this happen here? That would at least explain why the Tesla didn't hit the wall on autopilot and at least corroborate what Mark was telling Philip DeFranco. I'll be linking Philip's full interview in the description down below because for obvious reasons, I'm not going to sit here and include all of his questions in my video. It's hard to really know what happened here, but it's safe to say this mistake seems to have ruined Mark's image for a lot of people. And it's still unclear if it was actually Mark's or Tesla's mistake here. From an entertainment perspective, it was a great video. I understand why it went super viral. And it always sucks to see creators I enjoy in hot water. Either way though, Tesla stock is down 5% and Luminar stock is up 27%. So it seems like markets were moved off of this video. And whether Mark likes it or not, he might have just kicked a hornet's nest. And it already seems like people have tried to recreate the test in a low budget way with the full self-driving mode instead of the autopilot feature.
他直接变道吗？他根本不走啊！对啊，他不走那里啊！哎，没办法，他只能他的 FSD 来走一下这个。他直接不去了啊！他不去啊，他就不去啊，对不对？他鞭子都是甩的，一打开他就走啊。他打开他就绕。你看，他根本就不去那儿。啊，不去啊，打死都不去啊。
Oh, okay, cool. So it does work.
还是要变道。哎，回来。他也知道这儿有东西，你看他知道啊，显示出来了吧？
And clearly, yeah, the Tesla did way better here. Obviously, these conditions weren't the same though. But either way, it'll be interesting to see what happens. And YouTube thinks you'll enjoy this video, so I would definitely recommend checking it out. And hey, if you're new here, it'll be awesome if you subscribed. And hopefully, I'll see you guys in the next video. Actually, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Well, it sounds like Mark Rober got some splaining to do. Yes, Victor, we know it was Japan. Kind of by the language they were speaking. Yeah, it certainly sounds like Mark Rober got some splaining to do. And if there is a serious SEC investigation, you can bet they're going to be digging into this. They're going to be combing through his shit with a fine-tooth comb. So this could get very, very interesting.